Balogun. Hello and welcome. Tonight, 24 hours after the alleged invasion of the Labour House in Abuja by security operatives, Labour leaders go into hiding, demand investigation into the attack. In a quick response, the Department of State Services, DSS, denies raiding Nigeria Labour Congress building in Abuja. And optimism in the air as Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria assures public that the Port Harcourt refinery will indeed resume production this month, giving affirmation to the NNPCL's August deadline.
And business news report from the central bank shows forex inflows into the country surged 55% to $25.4 billion in the first half of 2024.
On sports, Botswana's Letsile Tebogo breaks the African 200 meters record to become the continent's first winner over the half lap with 19.46 seconds.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, ahead of the next cycle of elections in Nigeria, the Inter-Party Advisory Council advocates institutional reforms to strengthen democracy in the country.
And in international news from London, the Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus has declared there is a lot of work to be done in Bangladesh as he arrives in the country to take over as interim leader.
The Nigeria Labour Congress have asked for the immediate withdrawal of security operatives from the Labour House in Abuja. Now, according to a statement signed by the NLC head, Media and Public Relations, Comrade Benson Upa, at about 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday, long after the close of work, a troop of heavily armed security operatives invaded the Labour House in Central Business District Abuja, which serves as the national headquarters and secretariat of the NLC. The Nigeria Labour Congress condemns in its entirety this situation, as the armed security operatives showed no legal document permitting them to invade the premises.
It's Thursday morning, and this is the headquarters of the Nigerian Labour Congress in the Central Business District in Abuja. It's been hours since the NLC leadership raised the alarm of police personnel and operatives of the Department of State Service invading their offices on Wednesday night. Part of a statement by the NLC says, I quote, "This evening at about 8:30 p.m., long after the close of work, a troop of heavily armed security operatives invaded the Labour House, Central Business District, Abuja, which serves as the national headquarters and secretariat of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC. These security operatives, some from the Nigerian Police Force, some wearing black t-shirts, presumably from the Department of State Services, DSS, and others on outline mufti, swooped on the 10th floor of the NLC and arrested the security operative on duty, and then commandeered him to the second floor, where he was asked to produce the keys to the offices. They broke into the floor and ransacked the bookshop on the second floor, carted away hundreds of books and other publications. The invading troop claimed that they were looking for seditious materials used for the hashtag #BadGovernors protest." End of quote. While the police has not made any comment on the allegation, the Department of State Services has denied participating in any of such operations. A message from the spokesperson of DSS: "Dear friends, please kindly note that the service, DSS, did not carry out any operation at the NLC office in Abuja." However, an eyewitness who declined to speak on camera says men in police uniforms and some in plain clothes indeed invaded and ransacked the building on Wednesday night. When our crew got to the second floor of the building where the bookshop is located, we see empty bookshelves as well as furniture.
Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, by a contingent of armed security personnel. A statement by the Director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Issa Sanusi: "The chilling raid last night appears to be part of a sinister and calculated attack designed to intimidate the Labour Union," adding that the raid by the security personnel undermines workers' right to organise, bargain collectively, and take industrial action. According to Sanusi, quote, "Trade unions cannot be targeted for their participating activities Under international human rights law, as Nigeria has an obligation not only to respect the rights of trade unions, but also to protect these rights from abuse. End quote. He adds that during the lawless raid, the armed security personnel ransacked books at the bookshop, carrying all the materials into their van, claiming that the materials were used to incite and organize the recent protests. The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Abubakar Bagudu, says the fight to end poverty in Nigeria requires the intentional collaboration and engagement of citizens and all stakeholders. Mr. Bagudu made the remark at the official unveiling of the ActionAid Country Strategy Paper 2024 to 2034 with the theme Citizens' Action to End Poverty and Injustice. In Abuja, our correspondent Victoria Longjohn reports.
The Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, is amongst guests present at the unveiling of the ActionAid Nigeria Country Strategy Paper. The strategy paper in its 5th edition is a futuristic plan by ActionAid to engage citizens in a bid to eliminate poverty and social injustice. The strategy incorporates our lessons of over 2 decades of development work in Nigeria, but over 70 probably years of working globally as part of the Federation of ActionAid International. It marks the pivotal moment of ActionAid as we focus on institutionalizing intentional partnerships. ActionAid's new country strategy paper is a bold blueprint for organizing citizens and driving transformative change. The presentation of the strategy is holding in the face of Nigeria's economic challenges, and the government explains the effort to address the situation.
Poverty, regrettably, is still a major feature of our society. So, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu concludes that we are not where we want to be. And this came about not as a result of any one person's effort, but cumulative decades of underinvestment. And we have to do something about it. And in doing something about it, everyone matters.
The keynote speaker highlights the importance of social movement and the need for the mobilization of stakeholders and communities as a catalyst for change to end poverty.
What we need is a movement. We have always argued that change will happen in any society when the conditions are right. Social movements contribute to poverty eradication and social justice. Poverty eradication efforts are crucial for achieving social justice, as poverty is both a cause and consequence of social inequities. Social movements advocate for policies that address the root causes of poverty and injustice.
ActionAid is hoping that the document will influence citizen engagement to end the scourge of poverty and social injustice. From Abuja, Victoria Longjohn for Channels Television News.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, today paid a courtesy visit to the corporate headquarters of Channels Media Group in Lagos. Leading the delegation, which included the presidential spokespersons, Mr. Idris, during a sit-down with the chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momoh, highlighted the importance of proper news reporting and right information management system, as acknowledged Channels Television's endeavors in the media space.
Is the venue, as the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, is welcomed by the chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momoh. The team, which also included members of the President's media team, then proceeds to the conference room for a meeting with senior staff management of Channels Television. The minister states the purpose of the visit.
The media has to be free. The media has to operate in an environment, in a system in the media. Even as we do this task of holding government to account, which is your constitutional role that you are playing, it is also important that we know that our country comes first.
The chairman of Channels Media Group, in his response, re-emphasizes the guiding principles of Channels Television in its core area of news production.
Channels is an organization that is based on professionalism. What we do here is to make sure that we produce programs that are well put together and that will challenge the curation that will provide to impact on their life. And one of the things that we don't shy away from doing, and we always stress, is the fact that we must represent of government and government activities. But we also have a duty to let government know if there are areas where they have to do more, and if there are areas where they are failing. And we try to bring people from both sides of the divide.
After the meeting, in a separate interview, the minister explains the federal government's position on the events of the last few days.
The president did inspection, freedom of speech, and freedom to assemble. The presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not in any way, form or shape, want to trample on that. But our recent history has shown that once you assemble in the name of protest, the likelihood is that some miscreants will seize the opportunity to unleash violence. What he tried to do is to reset this country in a way, go back to the basic foundation, and the fuel subsidy issue was part of it. Recall that we were having an import of over 2 billion liters of PMS a day in this country. Now, by 29th May, when fuel subsidy left, we now discovered that our consumption came down by about 50%. So the question we're asking is, where was this 50% or roughly about 1 billion liters of oil going? When Nigeria was importing fuel using hard-earned foreign exchange, importing fuel to service our people, but this PMS or petrol was finding its way across the borders to as far as Central African Republic. We know that there's also a new initiative of government, the Graduate Support Program, that seeks to put graduates back into real life. What do I mean by that? Before they find gainful employment, it is possible.
Government's policies and the citizens' perception of these policies. Olumide Macaulay, Channels Television News.
In part two after the break, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, assures public that the Port Harcourt refinery will indeed resume production this month, giving affirmation to the NNPCL's August deadline. Please stay with us.
From July 29, 2024 to September.
Enjoy now. So let us start with one leg for Abia. Where we will put our second leg. Then we will start. The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the land is. And there is no good government. The one when the program and policies are for the people. The people are not fear because I know say from my mind, they don't close the thing before. If we come out, how it will be. Let not your heart be troubled. Follow us. Bring your voters card. Come out. Why would I vote? The vote will be counted and the vote will be we see you.
If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. 24 hours after the alleged invasion of the Labour House in Abuja by security operatives, Labour leaders go into hiding, demand investigation into the attack. In a quick response, the Department of State Services, DSS, denies raiding the Nigeria Labour Congress building in Abuja. Optimism in the air as Independent Petroleum Markets Association of Nigeria assures public that the Port Harcourt refinery will indeed resume production this month, giving affirmation to the NNPCL's August deadline. And Nobel laureate Mohammed Yunus has declared there is a lot of work to be done in Bangladesh as he arrived in the country to take over. A year from now, 2 million of Nigeria's youth who are unemployed will be gainfully engaged. That promise is from the Minister of Youth Development, Dr. Jamila Bio Ibrahim, who said efforts are in place to ease the pains that Nigerians are going through. According to the minister, the federal government is responding to the demands that were presented during the nationwide protests. She was a guest on our program, The Morning Brief.
It's a call for action and, of course, for government to accelerate our programs, implementation of our programs and initiatives to cushion the impact of the reforms like we have already been doing. We are deeply touched and we identify and with the current circumstances of Nigerians, and we're working extremely hard to ensure that we improve the lives and, of course, the economy as well to recover from these shocks that we have experienced in the last couple of we will be creating over 2 million indirect jobs in the first 6 months. And I would like to assure you of that. As long as we have the commitment of all the stakeholders, we will be sure to accelerate action in all our initiatives and programs. And well, now is the time to actually engage even more. Because as a young person, I've always been a bit critical of our past leaders and of course disappointed because we go to the polls, we vote for leaders, but in large magnitude, and then we do not see the impact on the ground. But I can assure you that we're committed to doing things differently. The entire administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to doing things differently, and that's why it has taken us this long to ensure that we have the right plans in place.
The Independent Petroleum Markets Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, is confident that the Port Harcourt refinery will meet its August deadline with full production. The National Operations Controller of IPMAN, Mr. Zarma Mustafa, stated this when he appeared on Channels Television's morning show Sunrise Daily. Mr. Mustafa assured the public that all necessary measures are being taken to ensure the refinery's timely completion.
I believe it's going to be a catastrophe if it didn't come up in August, because management have assured Port Harcourt refinery is going to start about more than three or four times.
An evening accident that occurred on Kara Bridge along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has left significant level of destruction and caused traffic gridlock. According to eyewitness accounts, control and rammed into the bridge railings as well as mangling several vehicles alongside it. As of the time of this report, it is unclear the number of victims and casualties involved in the accident, just as authorities of the Ogun State government are yet to comment over the incident. A fire truck was at the scene while many passers-by and other motorists milled around and gazed at the scene. The traffic is set to be slow while officials of government are expected on the scene to remove the vehicle wrecks. Earlier in the day, rocked the Mobile fuel station on Awolowo Road while the truck was discharging LPG. The Lagos government officials put the number of burned vehicles at 8. 7 persons suffered various degree of burns, while 1 person came down with an over 70% burn and has been referred to the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUT. The fire has since been put out, while the station has been cordoned off for further investigation. So let's head to the nation's capital, and Gloria Umezoke stand by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Ayo. The Inter-Party Advisory Council is advocating the need for institutional reforms in order to protect democracy in Nigeria. Speaking at a conference in Abuja, the national chairman of IPAC, Mr. Yusuf Dantali, and the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Abdullahi Ganduji, call for reforms in the judiciary and the electoral umpire.
This conference is the instance of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, to discuss the role of the judiciary in the sustainability of democracy in Nigeria. Present here are leaders of political parties, senior legal practitioners, and members of the civil society organization. The IPAC chairman sets the tone for the conversations, citing some developments in the country's judicial system that need urgent attention.
There is to be the anarchy and rebellion in the temple of justice, conflicting court orders and judgment by force of calling into jurisdiction. It calls for modern judicial reform to save the judiciary and restore its integrity and honor as a temple of justice and the vassal of all people.
The keynote speaker is a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Jibrin Ogutegba. He underscores the importance of the independence of the judiciary for democracy to survive.
Nigerian politicians are far too removed from the people. And that is the reason the judiciary was given responsibility to hold you accountable. But unfortunately, it appears that if you can't beat them, you must join them. Our electoral jurisprudence needs to be looked into, and I must commend Parliament because they done a lot.
However, all the participants are advocating the urgent need for individual and institutional reforms in order to protect Nigeria's democracy.
Almost all our institutions in democracy are weak, and we continue the vicious cycle. Even if the judiciary is reformed, if I is not reformed, even the common man doesn't be reformed because he is not an honest man. We talk about the judiciary as the master of the common man. Why is the political parties not the master of the common man? Why is INEC not the master of the common man? We want a perfect judiciary and a perfect system and a perfect country.
The The general consensus here is that it is impossible for democracy to thrive when institutions are weak. Hence the call for an urgent need to strengthen institutions such as the electoral body and the judiciary.
The Niger State Police Command has paraded 23 suspected hoodlums who allegedly took advantage of recent protests to vandalize Tafa local government secretariat. Niger State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Shawalu Danmaman, while presenting the suspects at the command headquarters in Mina, announced that they would be charged to court amidst the successful recovery of some of the looted local government secretariat belongings. When the News at 10 returns, reports from the central bank shows forex inflows into the country surged 55% to $25.4 billion in the first half of 2024. And that's a business news. We'll join us again. Party has announced its withdrawal from the forthcoming Kebbi State Local Government Council elections, scheduled for August the 31st this year. The decision was made following concerns over the credibility of the electoral process. Addressing a press conference in Berlin, Kebbi, the state capital, the chairman of the state chapter of the party, Mr. Bello Suru, disclosed the reason for their withdrawal, urging party members to remain calm and focused.
The released electoral guideline specifying that the administrative charges can be paid up to August 31st, but apparently shifted backward to August 7, 2024. This amount to charging the rules in the middle of the game and clear attempt to discourage opposition parties from participating in the election. It is against this background that the PDP wishes to inform its teeming number of supporters statewide that our participation in the election will only signify acceptance of an illegality, fraudulent system and stage-managed election as done in the previous exercise conducted in 2022 under the same leadership. At this junction, I wish to appeal to all PDP members across the 21 local government area of the state to remain calm, focused as we continue to reflect on the present and future prospect of our great party at local, state, and national level.
The Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo has flagged off the second phase of the One Youth, Two Skills Solution program at the International Convention Center, OCA. The program will have 8,620 trainees exposed to over 30 skills, as well as go through 5 modules of specialized training and ultimately receive empowerment from the state government. The governor also encouraged the youths of the state to key into the Farm to Feed campaign, which will be part of the Phase 2 training.
The excitement is high at the International Convention Center, OCA, as over 8,000 young trainees welcome Governor Chukwuma Soludo, who makes his way to the auditorium to flag off the Phase 2 of the One Youth, Two Skills Solution. On behalf of the youth, the Commissioner for Youth Development appreciates the governor for the transformational gesture, especially in skills acquisition and ICT innovations.
It's a great day indeed, and I want to begin by thanking Mr. Governor, the Grand Commander General of Allied Youth Forces, the youth-friendly governor, the man that made it possible for us to gather here to celebrate at this time the empowerment of 8,620 youths of the state in the various skills of their choice.
Governor Chukwuma Soludo says the agenda of fighting poverty, unemployment, and economic hardship is what the program is all about, as over 83,000 applications were received, but about 8,000 have been selected to be tutored by master trainers in the second phase.
Today, we've come to officially flag off the second batch. I understand that about over 83,000 applications were processed, and about a little over 8,000 of you have been selected.
He notes that Anambra State is at the forefront of excellence due to government interventions in various sectors that prioritize human capital development.
The foundation for our future, the bridge to the future, remains our children, our youths. And that is why we prioritize human capital development in building this future that we all dream about. That is the bridge to the future. And that is why we are here. Learning from our past and going into the future.
The One Youth, Two Skills is a unique program tailored to Anambra youths with skills that will make them independent and self-sufficient. The 5 training modules include apprenticeship, entrepreneurial training, cooperative support, business financing, and mentorship schemes.
In Enugu State, Governor Peter Mbah has flagged off the distribution of inputs and grants worth over 4.6 billion naira to farmers, communities, and startups in the state. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony at the Michael Obara Square, Enugu, Governor Mbah said the initiative will nurture small-scale entrepreneurs for sustainable growth through the provision of the key enablers, since they remain the lifeblood of the state's economic development.
This event is beyond symbolism. This is essentially going to take us a notch closer to our dream to eliminate hunger in Enugu State. And we are, as you already know, we're already intervening in other social services. The smart school, the primary healthcare centers going on across all the world are all designed to meet poverty goodbye in the Enugu State.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. For more on the news at 10, it's back to Ayo.
Many thanks, Gloria. In a significant move to revolutionize the payment landscape, Network International, a Dubai-based financial services firm, has launched its state-of-the-art cloud-based integrated payment solution platform known as Network One in Nigeria. At a milestone event held in Lagos, the FTSE company announced that the technology infrastructure, which offers a comprehensive suite of merchant products and solutions, will serve banks, mobile network operators, and fintechs in Nigeria.
Network International, a trusted payment services company, has underscored its commitment to local and regional markets by bringing its innovative, award-winning digital payment platform, Network One, on soil in Nigeria.
Our solution works across your entire enterprise landscape, be it cards, be it loans, be it accounts, be it mobile money.
A crucial aspect of Network International's sustained investment in Nigeria is nurturing an empowered local workforce, and this is affirmed by the company's Group Chief Executive Officer.
This platform has been built with an investment of over $250 million, and we're just launching it today in Nigeria. This is our cutting-edge, globally acclaimed, award-winning platform, and we certainly hope that Nigerian businesses will adopt this technology to help their consumers, to make their consumers more digitally savvy, more digitally active, and more digitally empowered.
On her part, Network International's Regional Managing Director for West and Central Africa explains that the company is strategically positioned to power digital payment services of the continent.
And Network One will enhance payment in Nigeria, given the fact that it's a platform, like I said before, that is easily scalable. It also has capacity to get as many transactions as possible. It's a secure platform. It has the best-in-class, best quality security ever. And then it also comes with a lot of things. It's driven by loyalty, it's driven by AI. So that is part of what Network One is going to be doing in partnership with our clients.
With presence in 50 countries across the Middle East and Africa and 20 years of operation in Nigeria, Network International is set to position itself as not only as a leader with a digital payment, but also contributes to the country's growing digital economy.
Business News is up next with Will Ibon. Will.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Ayatunde. Welcome to Business News. Now, foreign exchange inflows into Nigeria surged, reaching $25.4 billion between January and June, a 55% increase compared to the same period last year, according to the central bank. Now, this rise is due largely to increased capital importation, which hit $6 billion in June 2024, and record inflows from diaspora remittances. The CBN says its policies are boosting market confidence as the bank continues to address foreign exchange demands, including $876 million auctioned to 26 banks on Tuesday. Now, a long-term solution to the demands of the protesters would be to engage the youth meaningfully, especially in the area of food production. A former commissioner of land in Imo State, Uche Nwosu, believes that this can be implemented when the right individuals are given the right office and tools to work with. Mr. Nwosu was a guest on Business Morning earlier today.
There is need to rejig the youth ministries in the federal and in the states. I think what various states should do is one, they should immediately convey a town hall meetings of youth from one local government to other. With that, they can be able to identify the problems of youth according to local government. The problem of a youth from one local government is not the same problem of a youth from another local government. Most of the time, we have the briefcase politicians being given appointments. You see somebody who is a commissioner for agri, he's not even a farmer. Sometimes you see people who handle the Ministry of Agri, they have not even gone to farm. They don't even know what a hoe is called. They don't even know what a tractor is called. So when you give them an office, they don't realize that when you have tractors and hoes and knives and these things made for farming, they don't realize that you are taking it back to the farmers.
They think it's something that is kept there. So it has to come with somebody who has their heart for these farmers. You might be surprised that sometimes the federal government might give farm instrument to some ministry, and you see those instruments there for 2 years, 3 years, and have not been distributed. What does that tell you? That tells you that they are not even concerned, because the head, when the head is wrong, the entire body will go wrong.
Now, the federal government says it has lifted the suspension in Arik Air Airlines operations after resolving a dispute between Arik Air and Atlas Petroleum. This was made known by the spokesperson for the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, Michael Achimogu, who confirmed that Arik Air can resume flights immediately. This decision comes just over a week after the airline was grounded due to a court order over a $2.5 million debt. The Minister of Aviation and the NCAA emphasized that their priority remains ensuring safe and secure air travel for all passengers. Now let's check out the domestic equities market now. MTN Nigeria is still in the limelight as its gains today lifted the all-share index over 1%. Ladi Williams has the details.
To the Thursday market close. After kicking off the week in red, the local bourse sustains yesterday's gain with a bigger move up, and we see the Fugas contributing to that gain, 3.47%. FBNH, UVA also up 1.91%. We know the banks right now are the focus of most investors, with the tier 1 banks also continuing to fund today with the gains we saw yesterday. Now let's take a look at the market move from the lowest price hits in 3 years. That was Monday. MTN Nigeria makes one of the biggest single-day gains in a while. I think the last time this happened was in March. Could be related to MTN Nigeria renegotiating tower lease agreements with IHS and ATC, cutting the dollar component. So we see the telecom giants reducing FX exposure, and that could be good, for business. So, with the action we're seeing in the telcos, they might be getting investor attention. We'll see, if that continues. That's the stock market report. It's the bulls again.
Thank you, Ladi. Let's hope the bull can end the final trading day tomorrow. Let's also check out the closing numbers for other major equities around the world. And that's it on business. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first bank.
Thank you, Will. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus has been sworn in as Bangladesh's interim leader along with more than a dozen members of his new cabinet at the presidential palace in Dhaka. He vowed to perform his duties sincerely and urged the youth to help rebuild the country. Here's Sami Fuzi with more on this and other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus has declared there is a lot of work to be done in Bangladesh as he arrived in the country to take over as interim leader. People are excited, the 84-year-old said, moments after flying into the capital Dhaka from France on Thursday. His plane touched down just days after Sheikh Hasina, the woman who ruled Bangladesh with an iron fist for 15 years, fled across the border to India. She resigned after weeks of student-led protests which left hundreds dead, escalating and culminating in calls for her to stand down. The decision to name Professor Yunus as chief advisor between President Mohammad Shahabuddin, military leaders and student leaders. A state of emergency has been declared in the Kursk region of Russia as a rare cross-border attack by Ukrainian troops continued. The acting regional governor, Alexei Smirnov, said the move was necessary to eliminate the consequences of enemy forces coming into the region. Russian officials said at least 5 civilians had been killed and 31 wounded. Police in Barcelona are hunting the separate outstanding Rudidar and Hajar provinces, much of which are under the control of the Iran-aligned Houthi rebel group. More than 500 homes had to be evacuated, and many stayed Friday and Saturday at the Ernst Happel Stadium. On Wednesday, 2 people were arrested on suspicion of planning attacks inspired by the government officials of a planned terrorist attack. We have noted the 3 planned shows for everyone's safety. And a man responsible for one of the most obvious was Jack Carlson, shot to fame in 2009 after a clip of his dramatic 1991 arrest outside a Chinese restaurant.